That's right, y'all. This video is going up early for once. What? I've learned my lesson. I'm not editing another favorites video like 3/4 into the year after the year that it's meant for. I'm not wearing my glasses either. I need to be able to see. And what good fortune that I'm filming this when nobody is home. Don't have to worry about any stupid loud noises. I needed this. I'm starting to feel very out of the weather, so I needed a good cuppa today. Sup peeps, it's Jackson here. Welcome to today's video. The end of the year is almost here. Finally. And I'm getting ahead of the curve with this one. I'm not making the same mistake like last time. This is my 2023 favorites video. So I have been doing this since about 2020. I usually do like rankings of songs and albums each year. I've been doing that since about 2017. I started sharing my like monthly playlists last year. I'll leave links in the description for all the stuff, by the way. And then in 2020 on my channel, I started sharing like not only my favorite music, but like movies, TVs, games, just everything I've enjoyed throughout the year. And I thought I'd keep doing it every year, and here we are. So this is my 2023 one. Again, apologies for lack of videos this year. It's been a very stacked year for me. I'm done with shows for the time being though. I don't have any planned until at least end of January, and then I'm taking a massive vacation in February. But yeah, I wanted to get ahead of the curve. It's about the 20th of December at the moment, so I've got plenty of time to edit this and get it up before the end of the year. So today I'm once again going to be taking you through my favorite games, movies, TV shows, music, things I'm most looking forward to, that sort of thing. So, and if I sound really weird, it's because I am starting to feel a little bit sick, though I apologize for that. I've been working basically non-stop trying to save up for my trip to America. So yeah, that's a whole thing. And of course, let me know your favorite things down in the comments below. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys enjoyed this year. So, let me pull out my trusty notepad and let's get started with, I'm actually going to start with movies this year, which is a very strange turn of events, but there's a couple of games that I want to save talking about until later, so we're going to start with movies first. So I'm actually going to go in order from ones that I watched that had already come out to then my favorite new releases of the year. That's sort of a system, so it's not just completely random. A movie that had already come out this year that I hadn't watched before, this is going to sound insane, Cars 3. So in preparing for my family and I's United States vacation, we have been looking up all about the Disney parks because we're going there. And looking at the things, I realized that the Cars land wasn't at the park that we were going to. But then I was like, I haven't watched Cars in ages. And then I haven't watched Cars 2 since it was in cinemas. And then I haven't seen Cars 3 at all. And I saw that teaser trailer with Lightning McQueen almost dying. And I was like, what the f*** is this? And so I finally checked it out. I think it was even just last month even. And why is it almost my favorite of the trilogy? It's actually a very well done movie. I think it serves as a really fitting conclusion. I think if they made any more after this, it would be really cash grabby. And that's saying something for Cars, because even those just getting sequels is a cash grab. Let's be real, any franchise getting a sequel is a cash grab, but it's better if it's done with real heart and soul, which is what I think Cars 3 was. Same cannot be said for Toy Story 4. Sorry, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a really nice send-off to the series and a really beautiful tribute to Paul Newman's character of Doc Hudson. And really explored a super cool, like, psychological dynamic that I hadn't seen in a lot of animated movies before. I don't know. I really liked Cars 3. It's on Disney Plus if you want to check it out. Next up is a concert film, Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour. So, for your information, I did not survive the Great Tic-a-Tec War. In case you're not aware, if you're from overseas, Taylor is only playing 2 cities in Australia. She's doing 6 shows, 3 in Sydney, 3 in Melbourne. I think it's actually wrong. I think it's 3 in Sydney, 4 in Melbourne now. But still, only 2 cities. I live in Queensland. That does not stand. Every other artist manages to come and visit Queensland except Taylor. Taylor's managed to visit Queensland instead of Taylor. What the f*** is this? I have clips here for you. My friend Ellie and I were in the Tic-a-Tec queue for literally hours. We were in there for hours the first day, and then hours the second day, and nothing. Ellie is here.
It's happening.
We're in the queue. We have McDonald's. I needed this. The Great War is beginning. Literally, as soon as you open the Tic-a-Tec page, like the main page, go Sydney Frontiersman Precinct. Update, it's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. It's okay. We're both in the queue. We're both still gonna be here for a hot minute. It's happening. It's happening. We're still gonna be here for a hot minute. I'm showing Ellie some of my old videos while we wait in the queue.
Hilarious. You haven't changed a bit.
No one's like gotten through the loading screen yet?
Yeah, from what I heard, the Amex pre-sale, it took people like over an hour. And that was just for VIP packages.
Ew, I'm not in the queue. I'm waiting for someone to call me.
Disabled things.
Oh, yeah. Oof.
Yes, I just have to hope someone's going to call me.
Did you put in the form again?
Yeah.
Because you have to put in a whole form.
Yeah, no, I was reading a pedestrian article about it the other day.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Hey, Ticketek and
Come say hi
Ticketmaster, or
in the
just
queue.
any touring act in general, or any promoter who does concert tours, can you please fix how you handle selling tickets for people with disabilities?
Please.
It's so f***ed up. They have to jump through so many extra hurdles. It's the worst.
So inaccessible to buy accessible tickets.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's horrendous.
Jackson's
Fix
filming a YouTube video.
I'm vlogging.
Hi, YouTube.
Marty on YouTube.
She's a queen. We've now decided to start playing Taylor vinyls to help manifest further. We're listening to Evermore first, because I have my green vinyl. It's staying reloading. Hold up. Yep, never mind.
Oh, why did it do
Don't
that?
tease me like that, god damn it! You know, it's perfect that this song is playing. Thanks, Champagne Problems.
Man.
It's good that this song is playing, because we need to manifest us singing She Would Have Made Such a Lovely Bride, What a Shame She's in the head
Yes.
in a crowd full of people.
Yes.
It's going to happen. It's 11:05. Come on! No! Apparently there's over 800,000 people in the queue trying to get tickets for both Sydney and Melbourne.
I actually think it's more than 1 million. I know.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Australia, wow.
It's okay. I'm keeping positive in that this is basically the amount of time I had to wait for Ed Sheeran. Yeah, Ellie's already cried once. Because it, like, refreshed her page, and then it took it to the bottom of the page, thinking that it was, like...
It did that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit.
But,
And then panicked and saw my life flash before my eyes.
Yep.
And then cried.
Yep.
When I realized it was just a refresh.
It was not fun. I've now been in this queue for 3 hours. I've been in this queue for 3 hours. This is ridiculous. Okay, so update. It's now 1:40 p.m. We did not get tickets for Sydney, and apparently a lot of the things are selling out. So I've jumped over to the Melbourne pre-sale, which starts in 20 minutes.
And I cried again.
So, hey friends, it's 4:14 p.m. Still no tickets. Will's here now. We've literally played like 3 rounds of Crash Team Racing. We played Throw Burrito and Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, and we're still...
Dude.
Hold the camera for me.
Have you heard the Kids Bop version of that song?
No, and I don't want to. No,
No,
no.
listen.
Do not play it for me. Okay, so we just randomly got an update from Ticketek instead of telling us. Instead of just going to a new page, they still say, your turn to purchase tickets is coming soon.
So fucking stupid.
So we're not getting pre-sale tickets today. So we're going to have to try again in the general on sale on Friday.
Yeah. Yay. Oh, okay. Don't hurt the laptop. What did the laptop do? Ow.
What the f***? We waited for nearly 12 hours.
I went to go see a movie in that time.
I know. I could have sat in the cinema with you guys. I could have been sitting there watching Indiana Jones while I was waiting to not get tickets. Well, that's been the most frustrating thing of the entire day. Anyway, we'll try again on Friday. I'll see you all then. And again, and if it doesn't work out, then you guys will never see any of this footage at all. Yep. There were so many people who waited in that queue, didn't refresh the page like we were informed not to do, and sat and waited patiently and for so long, bored out of our minds, being driven insane just to wind up with nothing. And we didn't have multiple tabs open either on the first day. After the first day was such a shit show, we were like, okay, no holds barred now. We're just gonna do what everyone else is doing. That seems to be working. Because there were people who had multiple tabs open, multiple computers running, which they tell you not to do, but those people ended up getting tickets to every single show. What the actual f*** was that? Sorry, it's been so long since it happened, but I'm getting so riled up again just thinking about it. No me gusta. What the f*** was that, Ticketek? But anyway, I didn't end up getting tickets, so I'm not going to be able to go see Taylor Swift when she comes to Australia. And it's just happenstance that my family was like, we're moving up our US vacation. So I'm going to be in her country at the same time she's going to be in mine. What the f*** is my luck, man? My #1 artist that I want to see live more than anything. And I'm going to be on her side of the world when she's in mine. You know what? I've accepted it. I've come to terms with it because it's fine, because I'm going to get to go to America, which is so exciting. Anyway, not the moral of this. Taylor Swift's The Eras Tour. So in short, didn't get tickets. So this movie, when it was announced, was very exciting for me because it is the only way that I'm actually going to get to see this tour. Closest thing I'm going to get to seeing it live. And I really enjoyed it. So my friend Ellie and I again went the opening night of this movie and we had so much fun. People were up and dancing in our cinema. People were singing along and cheering. People giving out friendship bracelets. I got a couple of friendship bracelets. It was so cool. We had a great time, and then I ended up taking my family to see it too, and they also had a great time, and then my mum went and saw it again. Now my mum has been back on the Swiftie train. We got my mum to be a Swiftie again, guys. But yeah, I thought the tour was really, really well done, beautifully filmed. Just getting to see the whole show as a whole, rather than just pieces of it on Twitter and TikTok, was really, really nice. I really, really enjoyed it. The next film I want to talk about is one I saw the most recently, actually. The Boy and the Heron. This is my first time seeing a Studio Ghibli film in cinemas. I've watched Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke, just for people to know my sort of Ghibli knowledge, which is still very limited. But I really, really enjoyed this. I was not originally going to see it, but I was hanging with my friend Will the other week, and he was like, do you want to go see the Japanese dub or the English dub? I was like, I don't know about the English dub. I've been burned by English dubs in the past. Squid Game, I'm looking at you. But he told me who the cast was for the English dub. Holy f***, that cast is stacked. You have like Christian Bale, Robert Pattinson, Florence Pugh, Mark Hamill. So many incredible actors and actresses in that film. And it was absolutely beautiful. I'm still sort of getting my head around the whole message of the movie, but that's to be expected for a Ghibli film, I guess, and for someone who watches them not as often as everyone else. So I still really enjoyed it, and the visuals are absolutely stunning. I really, really enjoyed that film. Next up is a film that I have been waiting for so long, and I absolutely loved it. This is Five Nights at Freddy's. This film has been in development hell for over 6 years, and it's finally here, and I'm so glad it was done through Blumhouse. This is a studio who really knows what they're doing when it comes to low-budget horror, so I'm so glad it was left in their hands. Loved the cast, especially Josh Hutcherson. So happy to have that beautiful man back. And Matthew Lillard, absolute icon, king that he is. Ugh, so happy. It felt like this movie really took the lore of the games and the books and made it into something of its own, which I really appreciate, that it's not trying to stick to such rigid rules, trying to fit within the universe that already exists. So Scott giving them the blessing to really take it and play by their own rules with it, I thought was it was a really smart move, and it made the movie better. I really, really enjoyed it. I believe it's on streaming now. I don't know which platform in Australia, but check it out. It's a very good movie. Next film I want to talk about is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. At first, when this was first announced, I was apprehensive about seeing this, but seeing more trailers come up, I was really intrigued by it, especially by the voice cast. All the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are voiced by actual teenage boys, which is so cool, and they all recorded together in a booth, I found out, which helps create that dynamic even more. The animation, I'm so happy to see more movies following on the footsteps of Across the Spider-Verse and not being afraid to mess with animation styles, because this was such a gorgeous, gorgeous film. I can't wait to watch it again. I don't know if it's on streaming yet, but it's a fantastic movie. Definitely check it out if you get the chance. Now, the next two I want to talk about are something we're going to talk about when we get to TV shows as well, but this year I think we really, really witnessed the resurgence of good content that is video games becoming TV or movie adaptations. They've had a really bad rap over the last couple of years, but this year I think we really saw a resurgence, and it's amazing to see. So the first movie I want to talk about in that regard it's not so much about video games, but games in general. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I really, really enjoyed this movie. This came out in January, so I haven't seen it since, but from what I remember, it was a lot of fun. I really loved it. And the whole cast, Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, I absolutely loved it. It was super, super fun. I will definitely be watching it again. Check it out if you get the chance. It's really imaginative and fun. And the next one I want to talk about is the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, I think we all had reservations about this one going into it, but this movie ended up definitely exceeding my expectations. I have always been a fan of Illumination's animation style. The Despicable Me movies are some of my favorite movies ever made, and I was really curious to see what they do with Mario's entire world and teaming up with Nintendo for this, and I really, really loved it. The cast, actually all of them, did a really outstanding job, and the animation is beautiful. There's so many nods and homages to so many Mario games and eras of decades past. It's really well done. It's simple, to the point, and just flat out fun. So definitely recommend it. I believe it's on Netflix in Australia now, so check it out if you get a chance. Now we're on to my top 3 movies of the year. So my number 3 movie of the year is The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. I was so excited for this movie. I hadn't read the book going into it, but I am such a big Hunger Games fan. That series is just one of my favorite things ever made. And so I was really excited to see they were doing a prequel based around Coriolanus Snow, who is such an incredible villain. I was really excited to see where they'd go with his story, and they did an incredible job. The entire cast, I have to give a major shout out to Rachel Zegler and Viola Davis and Peter Dinklage. Oh, but I really enjoyed this. It's almost like a thriller more so than an actual Hunger Games movie, and I absolutely loved it. Check it out if you get a chance. I believe it's still playing in cinemas. My number 2 movie of the year, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This movie is fantastic. Now, a lot of people were shocked by the cliffhanger. I already knew it was coming because they originally announced this as Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, so I figured there was going to be a massive cliffhanger. I absolutely love this, continuing the incredible animation style of the first movie and continuing the story. I love Miles Morales as a character. It was sad to see him get so much hate this year, but I'm so glad that they are sticking true to who he is as a character and as a person, and standing by him as a lead character. I'm super excited to see the final movie in this series. It was fantastic. And my number 1 movie of the year is Barbie. A lot of people are gonna be like, why isn't Oppenheimer on here? I didn't see Oppenheimer. Sorry, I had no interest in seeing Oppenheimer this year. Maybe later on when it's on streaming, but Barbie was everything. I saw this movie like 6 times in cinemas. It's such a well-made movie. The messaging behind it, the cast, the acting, the set design, the direction, the soundtrack. We're gonna talk about that when we get to music, but the soundtrack absolutely slaps. This whole movie is just an absolute fever dream, and it's so well done, and I absolutely loved it. It's a comfort movie for me at the moment, so I don't know if it's on streaming yet, but it is available to buy or rent. So if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. This movie is absolutely fantastic. Definitely my movie of the year. Now we're gonna get into TV shows. Not a lot this year, actually. This first one is one that I watched relatively recently. It's on Disney Plus, and it's called Monsters at Work. So this is a continuation of the Monsters Inc. movie from 2001. For those of you who don't know, Monsters Inc. is my absolute favorite animated movie ever made. Truly a comfort movie for me. It is my childhood. I grew up watching that movie so many times. I choreographed a tap dance to the opening sequence when I was younger. But yeah, it's one of my favorites. And I thought this little series was really well done. It basically follows a new monster who goes to Monsters Inc. ready to be a scarer, not realizing that following the events of the movie, they now retrieve laugh power, not scream power. And it shows him and a bunch of other new characters, while also following like the events and the mythos of the first movie and the Monsters University movie as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's lighthearted but also endearing. I really enjoyed this series. It's only 10 episodes. It's on Disney Plus. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. Next one I want to talk about is Bodies. This is a Netflix series that had intrigued me from its first trailer, and then a lot of my friends had watched it the week it came out, and I was like, okay, now I have to watch it. So this is a show where 4 detectives at different time periods spanning across multiple decades, even centuries, find the same body in an alley with the same markings, same type of murder. For those of you who don't know, I'm murder mystery buff numero uno right here, and this series was absolutely everything. I love a good mystery to be solved, and this series was perfect for that. It did get a little confusing, at times a little convoluted. That's not a bad thing, by the way. But yeah, this show was really well done, really well directed, amazingly acted. I absolutely loved it. So definitely check it out on Netflix if you get a chance. Next one was also on Netflix, Heartstopper Season 2. Those of you who know from last year's favorites, I absolutely adore Heartstopper. I have all the books sitting up there, including Volume 5 that came out last week. And I loved Season 1. I thought it was so faithful to the books while also bringing something new and fresh to it. And Season 2 did that and even more. As to be expected, it delved into a bit more darker territory as the books do. I thought they handled it extremely well, and the use of soundtrack as well. We finally got a Taylor Swift song in a Heartstopper episode. Holy shit. Yeah, it was really well done, and I know they already got renewed for Season 3. They just finished filming Season 3 as far as I'm aware. They've just wrapped. Super excited to see. Apparently Volume 5 will also be in play in Season 3, so they're really moving through it. I'm excited to see if they'll get like one more season after this. Who knows? Absolutely love it. Love pure light-hearted queer representation. It's amazing, and while also dealing with some incredibly serious subject matters in a very tasteful way. Love this show. On Netflix, check out both seasons if you haven't already. Next up is a show that I think everyone in the world but me was talking about at some point or another, and my friend Cody finally got me to watch it this year from beginning to end, and I was not expecting to love it as much as I did. This is Game of Thrones. I've never watched Game of Thrones. The only thing I ever knew about it is that everyone hated season 8 before going into it because of some stuff that happened. I didn't know at the time, but now I do. I watched the entire thing with Cody over a series of about 2 months from beginning to end, all 8 seasons. I haven't watched House of the Dragon yet. I really want to though. That's definitely on my list to check out because I absolutely adore this series. So many memorable moments, so many amazing characters, so much incredible camera work. Holy shit, some of the shots in this show. This is one of the most cinematic TV shows I've ever seen. Even in season 8, when things kind of went to shit. Incredible work, incredibly done. It's such an incredible series. And I'm in the minority who still, despite having issues with season 8 and how it went, I still kind of enjoyed it for what it was. It might not have been what I wanted, but for how they did it, I thought they did it very well. So I really enjoyed it. The whole series as a whole. If I had to pick a favorite 3 seasons, I have to really think now. This is hard. I think season 4 will probably be my favorite. Would be season 4, followed by season 6, and then season 3 followed closely behind that. I was enthralled the whole way through, which I didn't expect from this kind of show, from this kind of medieval setting. It doesn't usually vibe with me that much, but this absolutely hit. Love this show. Love Game of Thrones. It's on binge in Australia if you haven't watched it already. It's a long ride. It's an intense ride, but check it out. It's fantastic. I'm so glad I finally watched it. And last show I want to talk about, while we're on the topic of binge and HBO, is another video game adaptation that I was very eager to see how it turned out. This is HBO's The Last of Us. As you guys know, when I put up my 2022 favorites, the first episode had come out when I was filming that video, and I absolutely loved it. The rest of the series completely follows suit with how fantastic it is. It is faithful as hell to the games, while also, like Heartstopper, being faithful to the original source material while also bringing something new and fresh into it. And I thought they handled it extremely well. Everyone who worked on this show deserves so much praise. It was so well done. As someone who loves the original game so much, as you guys know, I was so happy with how they did this, like sobbing like a baby happy. And I'm so excited to see where they go for season 2. I'm hoping they incorporate some stuff from part 2 into it, despite how controversial that game is. I don't care, still love it. Finished replaying it earlier in the year, and then they announced Last of Us Part 2 remastered, so I'm gonna probably replay it again in January, which we'll get to when we come to most anticipated. But the show is fantastic. Absolutely love it. Definitely check it out on binge if you haven't already. Now I want to talk about games. So I'm going to start with a couple of games that I actually watched before going into games that I played this year. So let's do that. So first up, one that I watched is a DLC. This is Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach Ruin. So I watched Markiplier's playthrough on this, and I really enjoyed it. I thought this added a lot of what I was missing from the original Security Breach. You guys know I had issues with that game. Still enjoyed it, but had issues. But yeah, I think Ruin was an improvement on the whole game, especially gameplay wise. I really enjoyed watching that. Another game I watched was Jacksepticeye's playthrough of My Friendly Neighborhood, which I was very intrigued by, because apparently the horror games community is just fascinated by things that we adored from our childhood turning into monstrous demons and crazy things that attack you. But I really enjoyed this game. It's basically like Sesame Street gone horror, but also it has meaning and importance and reasoning behind it, which I really respect. It's not just done because it's the popular thing. I mean, it is. That's how you get people's attention, but there's still purpose behind it, which I really enjoyed. It was a really great series to go through. And the next game I watched, I've been meaning to play, but I ended up watching this instead. This is Bendy and the Dark Revival. I love the original Bendy and the Ink Machine. The whole playthrough is now on my channel, by the way. We did it a couple of years ago, me and my friends. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. I was very intrigued by this because this game has been coming for a very long time. We've been waiting a long time for this game. And I thought, while the story left a lot to be desired for me, everything from gameplay to just how absolutely gorgeous this game looks more than justified the wait. It looks absolutely incredible, this game. A major improvement from the first one. Even the story happens to be better than the first one, even though it still leaves a lot to be desired for me personally. I really enjoyed this game. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. Now we're going to go on to games that I played this year. I'm going to go through these kind of quickly. So first up was a game that came out a couple of years ago that actually isn't available to buy anymore. But while we're going from me watching Game of Thrones, in the middle of season 3 and 4, I decided to check out the Game of Thrones Telltale series, which I had in my PlayStation library because it was available on PlayStation Plus a couple of years ago before they discontinued it, and I really enjoyed it. And it happened to take place right between the 2 seasons I was watching, so it kind of worked out perfectly, the timing of it. I thought it was a beautiful, fresh take with a whole new set of characters set in this universe, and I really, really enjoyed it. Next up is a game I'm currently in the middle of playing. This is the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney trilogy. Now, I had only played one Ace Attorney game before this, and it was Dual Destinies, which is available on mobile. I think I still have it on my phone actually. But I really, really enjoyed that game. And when I saw this, I had been like wanting to check out the rest of the series and see how it all started because I don't know the characters very well. And I bought it on my Switch and I really, really like it so far. I'm in the middle of playing through the second game. This trilogy includes Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Justice for All, and Trials and Tribulations, the first 3 games of the series. And I'm in the middle of the second one at the moment. I'm absolutely loving it so far. Like I said, murder mystery buff, and this is just all murder mysteries, and I absolutely love it. So satisfying to solve a case and figure things out. It's amazing. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. It's on the Nintendo store. Next up is a very simple but effective game. This is Power Wash Simulator. Ding, right here. I've been randomly playing it at points when I want to like listen to music, but also don't want to just sit there listening to music. I want to do something while I'm doing it, and so I just like, I'm gonna go clean a house or clean a car or clean a fire station. It's really satisfying. If you don't want to play it yourself, check out at least Markiplier's playthrough of it. It's really, really beautiful. It's super fun to play. Just, it's something super chill, tedious, something I can just put my brain aside, you know? It's super fun. I really enjoyed Power Wash Simulator. Next up is the PS5 remaster of Grand Theft Auto 5. Now, obviously this is a controversial take because a lot of people don't see the necessity of having this game released on yet another platform, but I wanted to replay through the story of GTA 5 again for a while, and I really, really enjoyed this. I think it definitely has enough upgrades to justify, and it only costs like 10-ish bucks to get the story mode for PS5, which I really appreciate because I already owned GTA on PS3 and PS4. Didn't want to have to pay full price for it again. And free online, which is amazing, even though I don't play online that much anymore. But I thought it was definitely enough of a graphical update to justify it being here, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was way less buggy than previous times that I've played too, so very much enjoyed it. Next up, I want to talk about something that came out very, very recently. This is God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. Now this is a free DLC, repeat, a free DLC they announced at the Game Awards, and at the time, it was only 5 days away, which, being released in 5 days, and it being free, holy So this is a DLC for God of War Ragnarok that follows the main story. It's an epilogue that follows Kratos going to Valhalla to try and master himself and his abilities, and also it takes him on an actual really emotional and personal journey. I was not expecting to get as much story as we got in this free DLC. I just need to emphasize that. They put in all this work, all this story, all of this fan service and love and lore, and they didn't charge a cent for it. How insane is that? But yeah, I really enjoyed it, taking elements from the roguelike genre, which I don't really usually like very much, but I like it when it's got story involved. So I absolutely adored this, and as a fan of the God of War games, absolutely love this DLC. It was fantastic. This next one is a big indie game that came out this year that I was very intrigued by when it was announced at the Game Awards last year. This is Viewfinder. Now when I saw the trailers for this, I was like, there's no way. And then I actually played it, and I got the exact same chills that I got the first time I ever played Portal. That's how incredible this is, and how quickly it runs and how smoothly it runs. Basically, it's a puzzle game where you can take pictures on a Polaroid camera or take pictures of like paintings and stuff in the world and put them in front of you, place them, and then walk into them, and then use those things to solve puzzles. So you take a picture of a side of a building, turn it on its side, move it here, and it becomes a bridge to get across a gap. It's absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this game. It's so beautiful. Absolutely love Viewfinder. It's cheap right now on the PlayStation Store, so go check it out. I believe it's only PlayStation and PC, so check it out. It's a fantastic game. And lastly, this is my game of the year, which I think you can probably guess. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I have been waiting for this game for so long. You guys know from previous videos of mine that the original 2018 game got me through a really rough time in my life, and also Miles Morales is a fantastic game, and ever since they announced that this game was coming, I've been waiting with bated breath, and it was so worth the wait. I absolutely adore this game. I was gripped through the entire story. The gameplay has had major improvements. Just everything about it elevated this series to an entirely new level. You can tell how much I love it. This was a stand for the game we had set up at work, and work let me bring it home. This now lives with me, and I will never regret it. and I have the collector's edition with the Venom statue, and everything was so worth it for me. This game was so worth the wait. I laughed, I cried, I was smiling from ear to ear nearly the whole way through, except when I was on the edge of my seat, which was nearly constantly. It's an absolutely brilliant game, and I wish it got more love. I don't know why when this game first came out, everyone's like, oh, we absolutely love it. And then near the Game Awards happening, everyone's like, no, the game was trash. How quickly the general public ups and flips on things baffles me. I do get that there was super stiff competition this year. This game went up against some real heavy hitters that I'm not going to discredit in any way, and we'll talk about that when we get to other stuff. But I just wish it got something. This game is too good to walk away with nothing. It is a beautifully done sequel that improves upon nearly everything the first two games built. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. This is without a doubt my game of the year, Spider-Man 2. Fantastic work, Insomniac. So now I'm going on to a section that is fairly new, and it's one that we're going to call We Need to Talk About, because there are some things that came out this year or happened this year that just need discussing, and that I didn't necessarily enjoy, but I have thoughts on regardless. So there's 3 things on this list. First up, we need to talk about Velma. This is a series that HBO released back in January, and at first I had no intention of watching because of things that I had heard, but I was intrigued by it because I do love the Scooby-Doo franchise so much. It's very near and dear to my heart, and also because, like you guys know, I love mysteries, and this seems like a perfect way to do that, to tell a more mature mystery through a Scooby-Doo lens. So I was very intrigued by it. The whole mystery element and the story, like the general plot as a whole, I have no issues, no qualms with. I thought that was really well done. My issue comes from the writing of the characters, the character development, and the dialogue and the jokes that just weren't funny. Like, if I didn't have enough patience in me to really stick it out to see this mystery through, I would have completely given up after episode 1. Some people I've watched, I think it was Alana Pierce who I watched react to this series, put my thoughts together perfectly. And I think she said, it's almost like the person who wrote this hates TV, just hates TV shows and tropes in general. And like, the show couldn't go 5 minutes without making a slide dig at that. There are moments, there are some good moments, there are glimpses of hope and light in this series if you watch through the whole thing. There are moments where you can see what could have been a fantastic series overall, but it just, those moments only exist few and far between in these episodes, and it's so hard, and I can understand why the show is such a slog for people to get through and why people would just give up immediately. It doesn't reward the viewer. Me as a murder mystery buff, I got rewarded by little bits of puzzle pieces being revealed and put together at different points. That was my reward. But for anyone who just wants a good comedy, you don't get rewarded as a viewer for that in the slightest. There is nothing funny here. And I hate saying that because there are very few, very rare, golden, really good jokes planted in here. But it's not enough to warrant sitting through the whole thing and feeling like you're being punished as a viewer for watching a TV show. I don't have an issue with race bending. Let's be clear here. I don't mind seeing this new take on Velma and Daphne's characters through different ethnicities. It's the way it's written to be like, you're watching this, which means you're immediately gonna have a problem with the fact that Velma is Indian or that Daphne is Asian American. You know, it's the show and the writers assuming the worst of its own audience. That just really rubs people the wrong way. And it rubbed me the wrong way. And it just completely diminished the potential that this series had. And apparently it has been renewed for season 2. Because apparently everyone was just hate watching it so much that it got enough views to warrant HBO renewing it, which... good job, everybody. You did it. So I'd be really intrigued to see if they work on these mistakes going forward and hopefully create something fresh and new and appealing. Right now, my hopes aren't high, but if they can come up with another good mystery, like genuinely good mystery, I'll be seated. I'll slog through it, but I know a lot of people aren't able to do that. So that'll be very interesting to see. Next up, we need to talk about The Idol. This show, when the first trailer came out, I was actually very excited about. I had just finished watching Euphoria. I very much enjoyed it, moments of it, and I really like The Weeknd. I like his music. I like him as an artist, as a visual storyteller. He's one of the more dark auteurs of pop, and I'm super excited for the cast. Lily Rose Depp, Moses Sumney, my boy Troye Sivan, Jetty from Blackpink, Susanna Sun, Hank Azaria, You know, big names, big names. The controversy kind of ruined it, and I went into this with less excitement and more of, oh no, what is this about to be? What has this show become? Because I have read all the articles of all the changes that this series went through and how it changed from something that was going to empower women to almost like a male porn fantasy, which I can definitely see how it became that, because it definitely did. It became 50 Shades of Grey, but set in the music industry and add a lot more drugs and violence. And I wasn't really here for that. There are moments that, don't get me wrong, this show is beautifully directed, beautifully acted with the material that they're given. These actors knock it out of the park. But there was so much potential this series could have had, especially on a series surrounding an industry as cold and sleazy as the music industry. I forgot to mention Hari Nef, one of my favorite actresses, is also in the series. And Dan Levy. And Divine. Love Divine. I thought all the actors did great with what they were given. My issue is with what they were given. You can see the potential in it, and you can see where the story might have gone if it turned out differently. In all 5 episodes, all it does is just come right back around to the beginning again. Like, you do see a woman coming into her power by the end, which I appreciate, but it's still by the extent of this horrible man, this horrible character that The Weeknd plays. And I'm not really here for that. Call me a feminist all you want. Yeah, I'm a feminist. I don't like seeing women get abused. Is that a bad thing? There are scenes in this show where you can see the potential. Episode 3 had this dinner party scene that really dissects Lily Rose Depp's character and her motivations and why she is the way that she is. And I really loved that. I wish I got to see more of that in this series. And you just didn't. So much potential. And it's really sad to see that this is the way it went. I don't think it's getting a season 2. I'll be disappointed if it gets a season 2. I'd like to see the original director brought back without Sam Levinson's input, just his camera work. And also maybe without The Weeknd, because I'll be real, he is probably the weakest actor of this show. Even characters in the show who are playing themselves did better than he did, which makes me sad. It's just, yeah, it's a rough watch, and not in a it's good but just serious kind of way. It's just rough because it's hard to get through kind of way. So I'm sad because we didn't get what could have been. That's kind of the case with this entire category. It's less we need to talk about, but rather more what could have been, you know? Last thing I want to talk about is the Game Awards of this year. In a year that the games industry has faced so many devastations, layoffs, leaks, games being delayed and cancelled, this year's Game Awards just was not it. As a replacement for E3 and everything that is, I very much enjoyed it. I very much liked it. It had some great reveals. We're getting Marvel's Blade. We got God of War Valhalla announced at this show. But as an awards show, as the thing its very title is saying that it is, sorry, F tier. You gave Hideo Kojima 10 minutes to brag about his own game with Jordan Peele, but the people who worked on these games, whose companies have had major layoffs and have lost thousands upon thousands of employees, and those employees have lost their income and their way of life. And you gave all those people who work so hard on those games that we play and take for granted, you gave them 30 seconds. When the people who made Baldur's Gate 3 were talking about the people they've lost, the company members and the developers who made their game, who had died over the course of the year, who were honoring them, you started playing the music to wrap them up and tell them to get the f*** off the stage. That is not okay.
Hello, Sleepy Jackson here. I would just like to state for the record that I have no issues with Hideo Kojima. The man is an icon and a visionary and has worked really hard to get to the position that he's in for several years, especially after being f***ed over by Konami for several years. I have no qualms with the man. I have no qualms with Jordan Peele. I have no qualms with them talking about the game. Super excited for OD, super excited for the cast, super hyped to see them making a horror game again. The issue lies with the fact that they spent 10 minutes talking about that game like it's a goddamn E3 conference when it is an awards show meant to be dedicated to the dev teams and the actors and the engineers who make these games possible. I don't mind if you want to talk about your game, that's fine. Save that shit for Summer Game Fest. The Game Awards is not E3. It is an awards show. Let's be frank here. Not only that, but they cut so many awards categories to just be presented on the side to make room for, I swear to God, 30 minutes worth of ads for fucking Lego Fortnite. Are you fucking kidding me? And every year the Game Awards happens now, it just shows more and more how much gamers take video games and the people who create video games for granted, especially with the recent leaks that have been happening. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Just wanted to add some context in here. Again, have no issue with talking about your games. Save that for Summer Game Fest. The Game Awards is not E3. The Game Awards is not Summer Game Fest. wait until then. This is the time to be honoring the creatives who bring these games to life. Anyway, that's all from me. Back to you, Jackson.
This year's Game Awards were just handled really poorly, I think. Again, Alana Pierce, I think, also has a lot of really great comments, and I agree with one in particular. And it's like, it's almost like the Game Awards is embarrassed by video games. It's just become this announcement reel star f***ing event, and I'm not here for it. It's losing the roots of what made it special in the first place, which is the place where it actually honors the people who make these video games and just turning them into jokes and spectacles. And it's so disappointing to see. So yeah, I wasn't really happy with this year's Game Awards, just the way they handled the award themselves and treating of the developers. Alright, now we're done with all that. Let's get on the music. So we have a lot to discuss here. I'm gonna get started with my top songs of the year. Now, last year I made a playlist as well. This year I've also made a playlist. Correction, I've made 2 playlists. There were too many good songs this year. Usually I really chop it down at the 100 mark and get really brutal with them, but there are too many songs this year that deserve recognition. So I've made 2 playlists. I've made my top 100 songs of 2023, and then I have made the top 100 the next 50. So songs that ranked from 101 to 150. That didn't quite make the top 100, but I still think deserved recognition. So links for both of those playlists are in the description if you want to check them out instead of hearing me talk about these songs. But here is my ranking from number 100 to number 21. Roll it now. And now, here are my top 20 songs of 2023. Number 20, Borderline by Sigrid. Number 19, Greedy by Tate McRae. Number 18, Angel by Pink Pantheress. Number 17, Lost by Bring Me the Horizon. Number 16, One of Your Girls by Troye Sivan. Number 15, Vampire by Olivia Rodrigo. Number 14, Amen by Bring Me the Horizon featuring Lil Uzi Vert and Daryl Palumbo. Number 13, NYC by Nox. Number 12, Snow Angel by Renee Rapp. And number 11, Miracle by Calvin Harris and Ellie Goulding. And now my top 10 songs of 2023. There was so many good songs this year, so much good music. Number 10, Other Side by Elenium, Set the Sky, and Vera Blue. Number 9 is AM PM by NOTD and Maya Wright. Number 8 is Rumble by Skrillex, Fred Again, and Flowdan. Number 7 is Hits Different by Taylor Swift. Number 6 is Mona Lisa by Dominic Fike. Now number 5 is one of 2 queer anthems to be dropped this year, Padam Padam by Miss Kylie Minogue. Number 4 is Missin' You by Tori Kelly. Number 3 is Rush, the extended version by Troye Sivan. Number 2 is What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish. And my number 1 song of 2023, Got Me Started by Troye Sivan. That's my top songs of the year. Now before we get into albums and EPs, I want to give a couple of honorable mentions. First is albums that didn't quite make my top 20. So I want to give honorable mentions to Fools by Dan Kroll, Gag Order by Kesha, Austin by Post Malone, BB by BB Rexa, Never Worry by Snake Hips, BB/Angel by Tinashe, Summertime Friends by The Chainsmokers, Ends and Begins by Labyrinth, Scarlet by Doja Cat, Tell Me I'm Alive by All Time Low, Another Life by Big Time Rush, and Don't Get Too Close by Skrillex. And then I also want to give honorable mentions to albums that weren't going to be ranked, but just albums that I appreciated nonetheless. First up is Revamped by Demi Lovato. Next up is my boy Flume dropping not 1 but 2 mixtapes this year. So they are called Things Don't Always Go the Way You Plan and Arrived Anxious, Left Bored. Next up is the soundtrack for Across the Spider-Verse by Metro Boomin. Next up is Speak Now, Taylor's version, and 1989, Taylor's version. Both of which came out this year. The reactions are up on my channel with Megan. Check them out if you'd like to. And lastly, I have to give a shout out to Barbie, the album. That's right, bitches. I have it on vinyl. I have it on vinyl. It's that good. Okay, now we're gonna get into EPs. So, my top 5 EPs of the year. Number 5, Analysis Paralysis by Maya. Songs that really stood out to me are Lola, If You Like It Like That, and Sweat You Out My System. Number 4, It's Not a Phase by Rez. Rez is an artist I discovered very recently, and I had to go check out the rest of her stuff, and I noticed she had an EP that dropped this year, and it's Not a Phase, which is a really cool blend of pop punk and her signature dark EDM style. Really dark EDM. Like, it's grimy, it's messy, it's amazing. Absolutely love it. Standout track for this one for me is Signal with Grabbits. Absolutely love it. And that song made my top 100 this year too. Number 3, The Hype by Sigrid. I am a big fan of Sigrid. I have been since her debut album, Sucker Punch. It's still a fantastic album. Her voice is really unique, and this EP is probably my favorite since the Sucker Punch album. There are some beautiful, beautiful songs on here. Borderline obviously is a perfect pop song. It's my number 20 song of the year, as you saw. And the hype is absolutely beautiful, and Wanted It to Be You really got me through a rough situation earlier this year. So really, really love this EP. It's really well done. Number 2 is Tori by Tori Kelly. As you guys know, Missing You is one of my favorite songs, and every other song on here is absolutely fantastic. Exploring the 90s and early 2000s through a modern pop lens is so good. And Tori's voice, as always, is fantastic. I love this new direction for her, and I really hope she continues it. This is my favorite project from her, hands down. Standout tracks are absolutely Cut, Missing You, and Shelter for me. Banger tracks. And my number 1 EP of 2023 is How to Lose a Girl in 7 Songs by Nox. Nox is one of the artists I think is really leading the charge when it comes to the pop punk revival that we're experiencing at the moment, and he's doing an absolutely incredible job. Not only has he got a killer voice, he's got an incredible sense of production and musical song structure. It's absolutely fantastic. It's really well crafted pop punk. I think favorite songs for me are absolutely Time Machine, NYC, and Porch Lights. Love this EP, love it. And now my top albums of the year. Number 20 is Endless Summer Vacation by Miley Cyrus. Number 19 is Ladybug by Jutes. Number 18, Gloria by Sam Smith. Number 17, Jaguar 2 by Victoria Monet. Number 16, This Is Why by Paramore. Number 15, Heaven Knows by Pink Pantheress. Number 14, Upside by Drax Project. Number 13, Let Her Burn by Rebecca Black. Number 12, Tension by Kylie Minogue. And number 11, Think Later by Tate McRae. Okay, now my top 10. My number 10 album of 2023 is Unreal Unearthed by Hosier. I only knew very little about Hosier's discography. I only really knew Take Me to Church, that's about it from his first album. Until last year when he did Blood Upon the Snow for the God of War Ragnarok soundtrack. I was like, I've missed his voice. I haven't checked out his music. I wonder if there's been some evolution that I might be into. And this album was a pure example of that. Absolutely love this album. It's beautiful and lyrically poignant from beginning to end. Standout tracks for me are probably Eat Your Young, All Things End, and Abstract Psychopomp. Number 9 is Sweet Justice by TK Meitzer. You guys know TK is one of my favorite artists ever, one of my favorite Australian artists, one of my favorite R&B and hip-hop artists, period. This album is everything. This is her second LP, and she's really come into her own. I think she's really discovered this album, who she is, what she wants to say. Standout tracks for this album for me: Woke Up and Chose Violence, 1-1, Silent Assassin, and Out of Luck. Number 8 is Club Romantic by Icona Pop. You guys might know Icona Pop from the classic song I Love It, but this album is more focusing on and fine-tuning their dance pop, and it's absolutely fantastic. A full album of just dance pop bangers, everything I wanted. There are some songs that blend into each other, but that's to be expected. And then there are absolutely some songs that just completely stand out on their own. Standout tracks for me are Fall in Love, Need You, Faster, and I Want You. Number 7 is Desire, I Want to Turn Into You by Caroline Polachek. I love this album. There are so many good songs. It's so well produced. Caroline's voice is unlike anything I've ever heard in my life, and she makes her way seamlessly, like through different genres, through different musical styles. It's really well done, and it's still cohesive. Standout tracks, absolutely Welcome to My Island, Funny as a Rider, Sunset, Fly to You, and Billions. Number 6 is Audio Lust and Higher Love by S.G. Lewis. I've been waiting for this album for a while. S.G. Lewis is one of my favorite producers at the moment. This album is absolutely incredible. It's a full-on showcase of how far he has come with his production and his voice. It's pure euphoric, disco-infused dance music, and it's absolutely fantastic. Standout tracks for me are absolutely Holding On, Another Life, Something About Your Love, and Missing You. Oh, and Lifetime. Love Lifetime. Hella cute. Number 5 is Elenium by Elenium. I recently got into Elenium's music last year when he started releasing more singles from this album. That was to be this album. This full project does not disappoint for me. It's a perfect encapsulation of his production style, and the choices of collaborations he makes on this album is really well done and well curated. There's so much variety here, there's so much story to be told, but it's still super cohesive. Standout tracks for me are definitely Starfall, Eyes Wide Shut, Shivering, Other Side, and Nothing Ever After. Amazing album. Number 4 is My 21st Century Blues by Ray. I will forever regret not getting into escapism enough when it first came out that it didn't even make my top 100 last year. I will forever remain pissed at myself for that, because ever since this album has come out, I've not stopped listening to escapism. It's an incredible song, and I wish I could go back and give it the love it deserves, but I'm gonna try and give it the love it deserves now along with the rest of this album, because this album is fantastic. Ray's story is so inspiring. It's hard. She has waited 7 years to get this album out because she has been in development hell with so many different labels wanting her to do a completely different thing, and she's worked her ass off to become independent, work hard, and make this album a possibility. And it came out this year, and it's one of the best albums ever released this year. It's fantastic. Her voice is something else. Her production styles being all over the place while also being cohesive in its storyline is so well done. Standout tracks are without a doubt Oscar-winning Tears, Black Mascara, Hard Out Here, Escapism, The Thrill Is Gone. I'm naming nearly the whole album at this point. Ice Cream Man and 5-Star Hotels. Love this album. Love it. And I'm so proud of her. Number 3 is Guts by Olivia Rodrigo. I wasn't sure how Olivia was going to top Sour. I really wasn't. And at first this album took a while to grow on me, but I'm so glad it did because this album is genuinely fantastic. It took the balladeering yet pop punk sensibilities that Olivia had first showcased to us on Sour and brought them to the forefront here. She went all out with the way she wanted to go. And that way is a bit more out there than Sour. It's not as commercial leaning. And I really, really, really like that. Standout tracks for me are All American Bitch, Lacey, Ballad of a Homeschooled Girl, Get Him Back, and The Grudge. Love this album. Fantastic work, Olivia. Number 2 is Quest for Fire by Skrillex. Skrillex dropped 2 albums this year as his comeback, and this album is my favorite of the 2. Don't Get Too Close is okay, but this one absolutely blew both of them out of the water for me. His production style of like bass heavy but intricate production is such an amazing move for him, going from his usually in your face sort of style. Absolutely love this album. Standout tracks are definitely Rumble, Xena, Inhale, Exhale, Supersonic My Existence. Love this album. And my number 1 album for 2023, no surprise here, Something to Give Each Other by Troye Sivan. You guys saw from my album reaction, I absolutely adore this album. I adore this man. This album is everything I've ever wanted from him. It's pure pop, and it showcases his voice and his choices of production perfectly. Like, it's genuinely fantastic. I'm so proud of him, and I'm so proud of him for finally getting a Grammy nomination. Holy shit. But yeah, this album was everything I wanted this year, and it's everything I waited for Troye to bring next to the table. I eat up every little crumb I get every time I listen to it. Standouts are without a doubt Rush, What's the Time Where You Are, One of Your Girls, In My Room, Still Got It. I'm just gonna name the whole album. Can't Go Back, Baby, Got Me Started, Silly, Honey, How to Stay With You. Just the whole thing from beginning to end. Perfection. Love this album. Now, before we wrap up, I want to talk about some of my most anticipated stuff for next year. So we are meant to be getting, finally, Bring Me the Horizon's next EP in the Posthuman series called Posthuman Next Gen. You guys know I'm a big fan of their last EP, Posthuman Survival Horror, and I'm loving every single that they've dropped from this one so far, so I'm super excited to hear what comes next.
Hello, this is once again Sleepy Mid-Editing Jackson here, just stating for the record that this video was filmed on the 20th of December, and on the 23rd of December we got the news that Bring Me the Horizon had officially parted ways with Jordan Fish, who had been a member of the band since their album Sempiternal, and this is really sad news. We don't know what the details are, we don't know the specifics yet. I have no idea how it'll affect the band and the music going forward, but all that being said, Posthuman Next Gen is still scheduled for a January release, so hopefully we will still get that. I know it had been delayed, it was meant to come out in September, but I guess we'll see. Just wanted to put that in there that this was filmed before the news dropped that Jordan had left the band. So anyway, that's all. Again, back to you, Jackson.
Apollo Justice, the Ace Attorney trilogy, comes out next year in January. Super excited to play that. It'll give me something to do while I'm over in America, while I'm on planes and stuff. And Dual Destinies, the Ace Attorney game that I had played before playing the Phoenix Wright trilogy, that is in this trilogy, so I'm super excited to finally get a Switch version of that and to play it somewhere other than my phone. We're also getting a remaster of The Last of Us Part 2, which I'm very curious to see. I've seen trailers and stuff. I know there's always talk about why this would be necessary, but also it's only a $10 upgrade for me. I'm obviously gonna get it so I can have the latest version. Plus the no return mode looks super cool. Super excited to try that out and see what graphical improvements they will have made to bring it up with The Last of Us Part 1, because that already lived up to the standard that the original Last of Us Part 2 set. Super excited to see how much further they'll bring it. I'm also really sad to hear that they've canned the multiplayer game, but also completely understandable. Naughty Dog are a studio that is known best for their single player story games, and I'd be really sad to see them give that up. I'm really proud of them for making that decision. We also get Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League finally in February, and I was super excited writing this down on my most anticipated. And then yesterday it got leaked. Can everyone stop leaking shit? For the love of God. Like, GTA 6 trailer gets leaked, Spider-Man stuff got leaked, Wolverine stuff got leaked, and now this gets leaked. Have we not had enough of leaking shit already? You leak all the story details of Last of Us Part 2 years ago. You leak the GTA 6 trailer the day before it's meant to be released. I'm over it. I'm sick of people not treating game developers like they deserve anything. This is why I say we take video games for granted, because people always like, we want more, I'll just go and steal it. Instead of just being fucking patient and waiting and letting people put their heart and their soul into it, and for you to just take it and crap all over it. It's not fair, and it makes me so sad. Anyway, I have not read any of the leaks yet for this. I'm avoiding it just like I did The Last of Us Part 2, and I will be playing it first thing. I'm actually going to try and pre-order the digital deluxe edition because you get it 72 hours early, so I can at least play a good chunk of the story, because that comes out a couple of days before I leave for the US. The game itself comes out on the day I leave, so I really want to play at least a little bit of it before I go. So I'm going to try and do that, and I'm really excited to see how it turns out. And maybe I will like the story. Who knows? People were like, everyone's going to hate The Last of Us Part 2 story. Look at these leaks. I ended up loving it. So maybe same thing will happen here. I have faith in Rocksteady. They're one of my favorite studios. Another game I'm really excited about is an indie game called Pacific Drive. This gives me very much Firewatch meets Control vibes, and I'm very here for it. I'm not too sure what the story is here yet, but I'm very intrigued and eager to see more. Obviously, Marvel's Wolverine is still on the way. I'm super excited to see if we get any details about that this year. Any gameplay, any possible dates, any hints of future dates, who knows. I'm just excited to see footage from it. We also got Marvel's Blade announced at the Game Awards. Like I said, you guys know I love Deathloop. Arcane Leon is one of my favorite studios. I'm super excited to see what they do with Blade. I think it's got amazing potential, and it's third person. Hallelujah. I'm super excited to see what they can do with this series. I might end up having to get an Xbox for this game, but it'll be worth it. Super excited. And lastly, I think this is the game everyone is so eagerly awaiting, Grand Theft Auto 6. We've been waiting for so long for details from this game, and we finally got the trailer, even though it got leaked. But I'm so excited. It already looks like a massive step up visually and graphically from GTA 5, and I love the story of GTA 5. I'm super excited to see they're going with this whole like Bonnie and Clyde style sort of thing. I'm super pumped. 2025 can't come soon enough. So yeah, that is my 2023 favorites. Let me know your guys' favorites down in the comments below. Let's have a chat. I'm eager to see what you guys enjoyed. And I also just want to say thank you for sticking around. I know there's been a real lack of videos this year especially. I'm going to try and work on changing that. I'm spacing out my shows now, so I have way more time to myself and more time at work and actually make money. So it'll be really good. Expect some videos very soon after this. I'm nearly finished editing part 1 of the Bundy Mountains trip vlog from this year. So that should go up sometime soon or early in the new year. And I will also definitely be vlogging when I'm overseas in the United States. It's only like 6 weeks away. Holy shit. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and sticking around and supporting me in the channel. I don't make any money from these. These are just something I do in spare time because, I don't know, I just do. I like talking to you guys and I like being creatively fulfilled, and editing is a lot of fun. I love you guys. Thank you for sticking around. I will see you guys in the next video. As always, stay fabulous. Look after yourselves and each other. Have a safe, happy Christmas or holidays, however you celebrate. Have a happy new year, and I will see you guys very soon. Goodbye.